Madam, in the sector, you had a plan to procure or to have a partnership with a private company in the utility company for government, UEDCL, immediately after taking over from Umeme. That was the plan. We wanted to know how far has that plan reached in terms of having a joint venture with a private company.
When we began this journey of winding up the Umeme concession, you will recall in 2022, Cabinet guided this ministry on how to advance the end of the Umeme concession, and were guided on several issues. Number one, we're guided on how we will handle the issue of the buyout amount for the investments that Umeme will have undertaken at the time, and how we wind up. And with the support of Cabinet and the Ministry of Finance, at the end of March, we're able to meet our obligations on the buyout amount. The second issue that Cabinet guided us on is to support the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited to take on the operations of the concession. And indeed, we supported the company in a number of ways. We prepared them when it comes to the governance of the company. We strengthened the board, but also ensured that we support the company throughout its recruitment. The strategy was to bring on as many Umeme staff as we could to fill the gaps, given the new mandate that the company had taken on. Now, the third issue that Cabinet guided on was on a possible joint venture arrangement, and the Cabinet was very clear that in this arrangement, UEDCL would have to be a majority shareholder. So they then required us to go back and assess as we go through the transition, support UEDCL, take on the operations. We commenced the assessment of this option. Why that option? Majorly because as the company and working with the ministry, we needed to continue mobilizing financing into the operations of this concession and supporting UEDCL. So, of course, the immediate focus was on preparing the company and ensuring that the transition was smooth. And indeed, come 1st of April, UEDCL was largely set, and they took on the management of the concession, all the ICT systems, and ensured that there was no major hiccup. And for that, we congratulate the company, because indeed, they ensured that that transition was smooth in that sense. Of course, the other decision that Cabinet made at the time on the financing side was to ensure that we support the company UEDCL to start investing earlier on in 2022 at about $70 million per year, so that we start filling the gaps. I'm happy to say that ever since they took on this concession, we have supported them financially. They have not lacked when it comes to the financial requirements of running this concession, which is a good thing. So post the transition and the company was in place in terms of running this new mandate. Of course, as the ministry, we have to evaluate that cabinet decision. So we onboarded our transaction advisor. So we are currently working with a transaction advisor called Mercados, and he's evaluating what the best form of arrangement would be for this post-concession management. It could be that it is purely UEDCL for the long haul, and then based on the emerging issues, we will assess on the financing side, does it make sense to then bring in a partner to support with financing, but also technical operations where necessary. We are confident that UEDCL, given the ongoing support, is picking up, and we should see these operations get back to normal operations. Coming into the management of the concession, of course, there were teething issues that the company had to address, especially to do with overloaded transformers, overloaded substations, and they've been working to address those challenges. So really the issue of this private sector partner is something that we are assessing, and as the ministry we will be required to go back to cabinet on this joint venture partner based on the decision and guidance of cabinet. So would like to clear the air that indeed this ministry has not today engaged any companies. We only had a bit of conversation with these companies. Naturally, when Cabinet made its announcement, there were a number of unsolicited proposals, especially focused on supporting the ministry to mobilize the buyout amount. At that point, there was a general feeling that the government might struggle to mobilize the buyout amount. But with the support of finance, we were able to mobilize it, and there was no need at that point to engage any external parties for purposes of settling that buyout amount. So that is the clarification that we'd like to make as a ministry.
How many companies had expressed interest in trying to, when Cabinet first pronounced itself, are there several companies that could have expressed interest in that?
At the time, before the transition, they were unsolicited. There were several.
Several of them.
Yes, there were several of them. And like I indicated, once Minister of Finance resolved the buyout amount issue, then that matter was put on the side.
So when is it likely to be tackled?
We are allowing for UEDCL to settle in. We want to give them this period to get the operations back to. So we are giving them a window of 2 years for them to address all these teething issues, and then we will assess.
Assess whether you need to have a joint venture or not.
Yes.
Meaning for the next more than 1 year, there will be any private entity coming to have a joint venture with UEDCL.
None, unless of course there is any other decision by cabinet, but none.
So this matter, you said it's going to be taken back to cabinet.
Yes.
After you have the period of 2 years has elapsed.
Yes, and our assessment is done.
How long is the assessment?
The assessment began right after the transition. That's when we onboarded the technical assistance. So that will be ongoing. It's a journey. The technical assistance is working with even UEDCL. So we'll give them a window of 1 to 2 years.
Thank you so much for according us your time and giving us an update about the energy sector.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.